Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of MHSNews Gaming. I'm Myles Edgington, and this is my co-host for today,
Elliot Jorgensen.
So today we're gonna, talk about a few games I played recently. But one of them is good, and one of them I really didn't like. The past few months, I played Nier Automata and Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Elliot here's also played them before. Okay, so Nier Automata, humanity's dead, and now robots are there. Well, androids. And then there's also robots, but they're the bad guys. But the game makes you constantly question that. Was that the right decision? Did that make you feel good?
And yeah, it's a game, it really makes you think about it. It's a very complicated game. The story goes really deep. So on the surface level, the game is just like a pretty cool action game with cool characters that like makes you question your morals.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Nier is, I feel, also just, like, about being really sad. Like, there's not, like, really any sort of good ending. Like, there's better endings where you feel a bit better, but...
Probably the best ending is just turning off the game and not beating it. I feel like that's the whole thing, is it makes you question. It's like, do I want to do this? And if you don't want to, then you just can't progress. And it's just this, like, he definitely did that, Miyoko Taro did that on purpose, because he's always a fan of just, like, making you question your morals.
Talk about, like, the world layout next. Like, I think Nier had a really beautiful and fun world to explore.
Yeah, I really did like the open world of Nier because it's just really serene in the moments and the music, and it changes through the chapters and all of the side quests you can do and all of the weapons you can get and all those cute little character moments. Yeah, so I just really like Nier. It's really hard to put into words. It's like kind of like Undertale or like Persona 4, where it's like you get to that melancholy segment like towards the end of the game, and you really get emotionally invested, especially with the characters. And so there's like in each of those games there's a specific moment that hits, and then it's all you think about is just that game. It's like, oh, I need to do this. You feel like you're a part of the world, and that is your responsibility to like help the people in it. Would you say Nier best game ever or worst game ever?
It's definitely one of my favorite games.
I thought you were going to complain about the beginning of the game because there's like an hour with no save from the very start, and I've had friends who've literally quit playing Nier because they can't get past the bullet hell sections.
I did die to that boss at first, but then I figured out, oh, if I just spam the dodge button, then I'm fine.
Yeah, just treat it like it's Bayonetta, and then it works out fine. Okay, so I guess we're going to move on to Shin Megami Tensei 5, which was my personal game of the year of 2021. It's a very desolate world, very minimal characters, very minimal story. It's mainly focused on the world building and the combat, which I personally enjoy because I like turn-based combat a lot. And so that's why it appeals to me, and I know that's why it doesn't appeal to you, because you like story and more action.
Yeah, no, I did not like SMT5. I really like the combat and the concept of it all, but like 20 almost like 30 hours in, I was just feeling dead inside, just because the story didn't really get me invested. Like, I felt no reason, like, why should I be helping these people? Like, because they introduced like the evil side of like all the demons and the good side of the angels. Like, everybody on the good side keeps talking to you about how you shouldn't side with the demons. It's like, but why? Frankly, this is just in my opinion. The demons seemed a lot more chill than people were like claiming.
I think that's the whole point. Is like, you can't look at it like it's very much of a story game. You got to look from it from a philosophy angle.
A lot of the main cast, like Oso or Anju, like I feel like are just the same. They try and act like they have depth, but they don't. They're all boring. The only characters I'd consider are interesting is the little pixie that you meet kind of early into the game that sometimes follows around with you. She's kind of funny. And the weird shopkeeper guy, he's also just kind of funny. There should be more characters I like, and it shouldn't be just because I think they're funny.
It's just in the game, at least Shin Megami Tensei, it's always been character-driven is Persona, philosophy-driven is Shin Megami Tensei. So they're all based off of the same like preconceived notion of a character, and they're all built upon that. And so you're not supposed to associate with them, you're supposed to associate with their ideology. It's not that I hate story in the games, I just don't really care because it's SMT, and I just assume that the characters just aren't going to be interesting at all. I kind of view this game like I view, again, Dark Souls is just like, okay, whatever, I'm going to keep playing so I can fight a bigger bad guy and kill him harder this time.
All of its mechanics I felt were good, but like I've seen them in different games I had a lot more fun with. Like I have had games where combat alone has like gotten me to keep going. Like I've talked before about how I really don't like what they did with BioShock Infinite, but it was still BioShock combat, which I just find fun because it just rush in, it absolutely destroys some people. The combat was still fun in this game, but I think since it's turn-based combat, with turn-based games, I like having that extra story element and interesting characters to keep me going, because sometimes that combat just gets a little bit repetitive. But of course, like, that's a flaw of every turn-based game that you really can't escape, that it just gets repetitive at some point. I'm sure this is because I probably didn't get like far enough into the game, but the world was also something to me that after a while also just kind of got one. Like there was one forest area that was a little bit different, but I feel like a lot of the other areas I played through are the same desert, city, or whatever, and it doesn't really feel different besides, oh, we added some trees. Look, there's some train tracks. Or, wow, the sky's red now.
Yeah, it's just because it's a lot of samey stuff, because the first 30 hours is really the first fourth or third of the game, because then after you get to a certain point, a lot of the areas start to differentiate, especially the world design should have been varied from the start, and then go back to those desert things towards the end, and some of the stuff from the end could be at the beginning.
And then it just makes you feel like a lot of your decisions don't matter. Like, I was basically off of the game after I finished the second boss, Lamu. Basically, it gives you a decision. And go in and kill him, potentially harm an innocent, or try and save her. I thought, oh, maybe there will be a difference if I try. The game basically then just laughs in your face and is like, no. There really was no difference between those two options. Either way, they just die. And then somebody else comes in and then dies. I was just like, they just killed like two of the, I guess, closer characters to the story in like one boss fight for at least what I saw is like no reason.
I think that Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is probably going to be the thing that saves SMT5 for most people. The core is good, but it's going to build upon the characters and the story and the things that people want to have. I'm in probably the minority. I actually like the game just because I like the more philosophical, like non-narrative driven type things because I think that's very interesting. Just like as a whole, like this game is supposed to be niche. Like I know a lot of games journalists went into it thinking that, oh, SMT5 is just gonna be like Persona 5 2, and I'm like, no, it's gonna be like a game from the 90s with modern visuals. It's SMT. It's not gonna change that much. And so again, it's just about that payoff, and it's really like if you go into this game thinking I want to play for the combat, and that's what motivates me to keep playing is to play more cool combat, then go ahead. But if you want to go into this game thinking, I'm going to play this so I can have a cool story to make me want to do the combat, then you're not going to get that here. Then go play Persona 5 or Persona 4 or Persona 3.
So, in my opinion, Nier I'd probably give 9.5. It was a solid game. I didn't really have any problems with it. I love the combat and everything. Like, it was a really fun game. But there was a few things I was like, I wish I didn't have to, like, do this.
Yeah, so for me, Nier's probably a 10 out of 10 because it's probably one of the most perfect games I've played. I'd probably put it up there with probably, again, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Persona 5, Persona 4, Persona 3 Reload. It's just one of those games where it's like, holy crap, this is amazing. I love this game so much. This is awesome. It does everything right. The stuff that sucks was sucky for a reason.
I wish I could say the same for SMT5. Solid 5, maybe.
Yeah.
Because the combat is fun, but it's not enough to carry the rest of the game that just felt boring, repetitive, and just made me feel like, oh, I just don't care.
Yes, for me, I think SMT5 is probably like an 8, because I do think it is worse than SMT4, which has the better story and better characters. Even though I don't care about that, that still helps. Like, I'd rather have it's like saying, would you rather have a buffet with a dessert or a buffet with no dessert? I'm like, well, a buffet's a buffet, but hey, I'll take the dessert if you're giving it to me.
You know, I feel like every game should have, like, a good balance of both. It shouldn't go, like, too heavily into combat and too heavily into story.
Yeah, I think SMT5 is probably my second favorite SMT game. It's a little better than 3. I like 3 a lot, though.
So I guess that's going to be it for today's episode of MHS News Gaming. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you join us next time. Bye!